away from securing that spot.
And an equally important game for the Flash Wolves, their most dominant year domestically so far, an impressive MSI. But if they lose this game, they will be on the back foot for the rest of the day. They need to get it back rolling, and it is against another 1-3-1 team, something they have struggled with this group stage.
Yep, remember, it was just 2 days ago that the Flash Wolves were sitting on 2-0, feeling good, everything was great, Group A is easy, look at this, we're going straight out of here, and then, well, bam! G2 strolls up, says we're not going to team fight you, 7 kills in 30-something minutes. Flash Wolves gets shut down. That's then adopted by the Afrika Freaks as we saw today. And now Flash Wolves has to show us something else.
So they're removing the Nocturne. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Tom Kench removed as well, but they're actually going to leave this one open. So removing...
You're worried about those? What about the Heimerdinger? Where's the Heimerdinger ban video?
You're right.
Banned.
Oh no, it's not banned. It's been left open. Look, you can see Hjarnen's face. We need to see Hjarnen's face. The discussion is right now. Do we just lock it in? Does Flash Wolves have an answer, yes or no? Listen, Akali might be a strong champion, but Hjarnen's Heimerdinger is undefeated.
Let's see if they go for it. They're going to go with Tom Kench first. Tom Kench, very annoying to deal with, keeps everybody safe. And they're going to go with Lissandra second. Now, the cool part about Heimerdinger is the fact that pretty much no one not named Hjarnen or Heisekon plays it, so you don't have to worry about it being contested.
Yep, that's very true. So they're going to keep us on our toes for now. But we talked about the Tom Kench. It still provides a lot of global value with his ultimate, especially when you plant him in the mid lane. He can very quickly move to the side lanes. And as you heard on the analyst desk, Lissandra considered a good pick into Akali to lock her down whenever she tries to dive in.
Also, very easy for her, even if Akali goes into the Shroud. Remember, the Shroud starts off tiny. It expands as it goes. If Lissandra's standing in the smoke as it starts, you just press W. It's going to hit her.
This is such a fun draft so far because Lissandra going to shut down the Akali, as you mentioned, but all of a sudden Sword Art on one of the biggest playmaking champions throws the gauntlet, says, we will give you the Heimerdinger. We're going to play an aggressive lane, and they don't take it.
Wow.
Instead, they go for the Irelia. This champion has an absolutely crazy win rate so far at Worlds.
Is it 100%?
It's not 100.
Give me the Heimerdinger.
It was above 90 the last time I checked. It is very, very high. It is not above 90 any longer. It is 71. But if we're going by strict math rules, 71 still rounds up to 100. So if we're going with rounding rules, Spawn, yeah, it is a 100% win rate.
All right, and it also has an okay matchup into the Scion, which we can assume could be top lane. It could also be mid lane, however. This could be a curveball, and we could see these picks rotate around the map. I wonder how good Wonders Lissandra is. Has shown that he can play the Rise, not afraid to take the mages into the top lane.
So not how many AD carries are being banned away right now, gents. They're like, a lot have been taken off the board. Flash, and remember, there's also AD on the side of G2. They can pick themselves up an AD jungler, and that means that you'd be pretty balanced in terms of AD and AP damage, and you just really have to respect the Heimerdinger pick. G2, there it is. All right.
Banned out. Unlucky. Well,
so close.
G2, they're going to have 2 bottom lane picks banned against them in the Jhin and the Heimerdinger. We'll see what they decide to give Hjarnen now that those have been taken away.
And is it going to be something like an Ashe, something that's just very lane dominant, trying to step up? Maybe even a Caitlyn is available, has got great range, and instead they just save it until the end.
I like this a lot.
So do I.
Too. Largely because think about how they've drafted to deal with this Akali. Right now, the only damage dealer on the team of Flash Wolves, because the Skarner, you have his ultimate to lock her down. You have the chain CC from the Lissandra. You have the Tom Kench to also provide peel should she try to dive onto anyone. So G2 kind of taking inspiration from the European brothers in Schalke from the European finals and how to deal with this pick.
And earlier today, I heard a very tame and civil conversation between Vedius and Frostgurun about the priority of Kai'Sa at World.
This again.
Well, it seems to be non-existent right now as Flash Wolves go away from one of their most picked champions for Betty and put him on a Sivir, and now we're going to see whether it is going to be picked up for G2.
Well, they're hovering over it. They're thinking about it. It is the only champion, I believe, that has been played by Hjarnen outside of
But Flowers.
Well, before today, it was the only champion played by Hjarnen outside of the Heimerdinger and the Jhin.
In Europe.
Oh! No! It's the brand!
It's what? I was just about to talk about Vayne and how great Vayne is into this matchup, and then
Forget
Yarnan
Vayne.
does the swap.
This is Yarnan.
It's a brand.
We're going to play some mages.
He
This is
picked
awesome.
Brand.
This is awesome. Because you know what? Sivir has a spell shield. She can block only one bounce.
Give me a
granted,
face
that'll
cam
block
of
the entire
Yarnan's face.
thing.
I need to see Yarnan's face right now. What is the
But not only
Stone
that.
Cold?
It does block the entire thing, chat. Don't try to do that.
So let's do some quick theory crafting. Civil, one of the shortest range AD carries, is going to contest for the wave, is going to try and push as hard as possible. Brand, as a mage, going to max that Pillar of Flame, is going to have equal shove priority. Also, given the fact we've seen so many of these games devolve into 5v5 team fighting, Brand's ultimate is going to provide so much AoE damage. You throw in Alessandra, you throw in Aurelia, we could have some explosive action.
And I want to throw a shout out to Freak right now, because yesterday I heard him talk about, man, Leandri's Torment got buffed. Why am I not seeing more champions that can build Leandri's Torment? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't heard, fire goes good with more fire. If you have abilities that burn people, get more stuff that burns people.
You're right.
And that means this brand can really just chew through that Scion with how much damage is on this chip.
But, I mean, let's just also think about this in terms of a compositional perspective. Flash Walls. Yes, they drafted the Akali to take it away from G2, but she can also work very effectively in the 5 versus 5. And when you have a front line of Scion, you have the Talia and the Sivir in there as well. Flash Walls, they can generate some pressure on a side and set up a 1-4, but they shouldn't be afraid to go for the 5v5 either.
Oh, baby, we're on to Summoner's Rift now. Flash Wolves fighting to keep themselves in a running for a spot. G2 fighting to lock that ticket out of groups right here, right now, and they're looking to do it with a Brand bot lane with teleport.
And now, whilst we've spoken a lot of the positives of Brand, I do just want to hit on the fact that he has very low mobility. He is quite a slow champion, and they do have a Talia Thresh that can look to attack this bottom lane. Flash Wolves have been at their best when they focus the pressure around Sword Art and try and free him up in this game.
And while I was trying to meme and joke about blocking stuff with blocking only one bounce with the Sivir Spell Shield earlier, if you block the first shot of the Brand bounce with Sivir Spell Shield, the whole thing just fizzles and goes away because it's not actually bouncing off of anyone. And her Spell Shield can also stop him from chaining the abilities together to get the extra bonuses that he wants. So if Betty is able to do that properly and find that timing, he can shut down what Yarnan wants to do.
Yeah, that's why I was very surprised to see the Brand pick, because into Sivir, it's not the greatest matchup. It's very easy for Sivir to just proc her spell shield, keep up the mana, and as a result, keep up the wave clear in this matchup as well, which means that I feel Yarnan will likely just get pushed very heavily in terms of the early laning phase especially.
Bear in mind, this is all theory crafting at this
course.
point. Whilst I have a lot of experience with what Brand does and a lot of experience with what Sivir does, you throw in a couple of supports, you add some junglers into the mix, and all of a sudden, you could just have yourself a good old Fiesta in the bottom lane at the same time. So I think that they obviously have a very specific plan. They went with so many bans towards that bottom side of the map. G2 is a team that has been able to execute in the past. We'll see whether they can do it here today.
Yeah, and I was talking to Grabs and seeing how the team felt, what was their idea coming into the game, and he said, you know what, we've prepared some new stuff. We've got some, just get ready for it. And I kind of brushed it aside. I was like, okay, yeah, he's got some new stuff, but definitely was not expecting this. One game as Brand, impressive scoreline in the EU LCS. And
it was a win.
Some of his stats.
It was a win.
Another 100% champion flowers.
Yup, 100%. Got 2 of them along with that Irelia that we discussed earlier, ever so mathematically accurately. And speaking of the Irelia, Wonder on the Irelia. This guy, he had a good performance on the Aatrox last game. We were all talking so much about perks on the Akali because he was the one who popped off so much. But Wonder is still just being this rock for G2, and it looks like we're going to see the lane swap.
Yeah, and you can see right now that they really want to put the Aurelia into the Scion because similar to Camille, if it's allowed to scale up, it will just be able to take over the lane with that Conqueror passive. Not to mention the fact we've already gone back and mentioned it, but Perks should be able to bully Maple around on this pick.
Yeah, he'll also have a lot of push in the laning phase. Perks also running the teleport so he can get back into lane. And while Maple is definitely the more competent, or you expect to be the stronger Akali in when you compare how Hanabi has typically played so far in this tournament, whether he will be able to get out of this laning phase unscathed is one of the things that I'll be looking for, because I wouldn't be surprised to see Wonder and Jankos roam up towards the top side of the map once Perks hits level 6 and they try and set up a dive.
I'm glad to see G2 following the lane swap from their opponents to make sure they maintain these strong lanes. We talked last game about how they've struggled a bit in the early game up till now. I do want to mention that the Skarner versus Talia matchup pre-level 6 is like trying to play baseball without a bat. You just don't do anything to her at all unless she messes up. So if Mugen can manage to track Jankos and show up at the same place at the same time, he can definitely make something happen in those skirmishes.
You say that, but I think that Jankos has actually 3-buffed him with all the priority he had in mid and top lane. He's also up double the CS right now, 28, farming like a monster at this stage of the game after a disappointing early game where his pathing was pretty questionable in my opinion last time around. Has shown that he can bounce back and has resilience.
Hey, if fighting the opponent is just not an experience you want anything to do, path better than they can, and you can just avoid that entirely. Good stuff coming out from Jankos here early on. If you're a G2 fan, if you're a Flash Wolves fan, you're hoping maybe that stops sometime soon. Sword is going to do a good job freezing the wave up there, as Betty will show back up to the bottom lane to farm this one out. And it looks like we're staying pretty even CS here on the bottom side of the map, but it's G2 with leads in both the solo lanes and 20 up in the jungle.
But the bot lane is suffering a little bit. You can see that the farm and freeze is going in favor of Betty, and this is kind of what we expected in the early laning phase. Long cooldowns on the Brand. Did just use his teleport, but the Pillar of Flame, if that landed onto Sword Art, remember that the passive of Brand is a slight burn, and if they're burning and he hits you with his Q, the target will get stunned. So Sword Art forced to disengage from that situation.
And as we like to add additional passives, the third spell then procs a big AoE percentage health damage, which does ridiculous amount of work as Hook goes wide.
Nice stun coming out, and here comes the kaboom from the AoE percentage health damage. TP gonna be showing up. It's both junglers as well. It's about to be a party! Perk makes his way into the mix as now damage gonna be coming down now onto Mugen. Perk's grabbing himself the first blood in as he gets taken down by Maple. Wonder's able to grab a kill for himself in return. Knocked up into the air, gobbled up by Tom Kench. Woodid doing a great job keeping Wonder alive. Not gonna be shot by that snipe from the Scion at the very end of the fight.
And at the end of the day, it is just a 1-for-1 trade, but it was first blood going to Flash Wolves. Mid laner getting the kill there, top laner on the side for G2, but very close. Everyone joining in on the action early.
Was not expecting this many members down towards the bot side of the map this early into the game. So many ultimates were unavailable, and that's why Flash Wolves were in a much better spot, because Sword Art soaks up a lot of the damage from the get-go. You can see how early the TP comes in from the Sandra, but this ends up being a 4 versus 5, and Perks, with no ulti, gets melted through by Maple and the front line of Flash Wolves. But then when Wonder joins the fight, he's able to find a kill onto Mugen, and a good save from Adib, then keep your eyes on Hanabi. He tries to land that E, but a good sidestep from Wonder gets him away with his life.
Good job there from everybody. I mean, 1-for-1 with 5 people contributing from both sides. It's quite a bloody battle. Wonder is taken low there, but gets himself away. Maple doesn't want to risk going after that one as the lane swaps continue, and Perks is right back in there against Maple. Level 5 compared to level 6 right now, but should find himself that ulti here very soon.
And we just saw what happens when Akali goes into a melee matchup against the Aurelia, especially in the Shroud, and given how reliant Wonder is on these auto attacks and landing your abilities, Akali is a really difficult matchup to play out. So later on in the side lanes, Perks will have to be the one to keep Maple under control, because Wonder shouldn't be able to win out on those 1v1.
But you can see how worried he is. They are getting shoved in top. You can see Jankos has access to that jungle one more time. In the wings is Mugen, waiting for this dive, but they have to back away from the turret, given how much threat Perks and Jankos currently have.
Jankos with Predator and Flash is a very deadly Scorpion. You can make the play happen with those two tools ready to go, but he's going to back himself away now. As you can see, potentially that Scion from Hanabi maybe getting ready to go bottom if he needs to. Walking towards here, has the ultimate available, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for it.
But it's mirrored so well from Wonder one more time. He goes from the top lane into the mid lane, collects that farm, and they're just jockeying from position. He read the play out of Hanabi. He knows Hanabi does not want to fight against him. Brand very good at taking neutral objectives with the passive, with the burn. Will secure first dragon for G2, and they seem to have a much better grasp on this early game.
First Drake taken down, 8 minutes into the game, nice and early. Plus, it's going to be a Cloud Drake, so you've got that extra movement speed to catch up to your opponents or kite away if they need to. Jankos giving over that blue buff now to Perks on the Lissandra so we can keep spamming out those abilities. Of course, Lissandra, not quite the hyper carry that you think of, like when you think of the Akali and what Perks did last game, but he'll still provide plenty of utility for his team. He is going the Electrocute build. It is not Aftershock Lissandra like we've seen some other players tank that heavily favors that tankiness opposed to the damage, wants to make sure that if he does get the opportunity to explode someone, they're going to blow up just like a handball.
Yeah, and still is a good mid-game carry. Will fall off a little bit as the later stages go, but has great utility in self-ult as well as AoE CC. But as all of Lissandra's ability are AoE, if you get the ideal situation, she just does so much damage.
And I'm thinking of the combo between Lissandra and a Brand right now.
And an Aurelia ult, just slow
Iron Eye,
down.
baby. That's a lot of AoE.
Very scary. Flash Wolves this time around. They will get their team fight against G2. The split push is a possibility. We already talked about Akali. The 1-4 can be played by the Flash Wolves, especially now that a kill has been picked up for Maple, and we know how much of a big carry he can be, especially based on his history as a player. But I'm expecting a lot more team fighting this time around. The 5v5, something that Flash Wolves are obviously always more than happy to take.
Yeah, that's what this team wants to see because that's what this team could not establish in the previous 2 games, both of which were losses. I posed the question earlier, can Flash Wolves play a different style? Has everybody just found their kryptonite? They know how to beat them now. G2 has instead opted into something that isn't just that complete 1-3-1. Instead, they're saying, no, we definitely have team fight tools to win one of these big battles. We just need to get ourselves in a good spot. Right now, they're in a pretty solid spot early on in this game. Like we already said, they have the first Elemental Drake. They're up very slightly in terms of gold, and now they're looking to make a play. It's Jankos and Wadid coming down into the bottom lane. They've already popped the spell shield. That's how you do it before you use the Skarner ulti. You make sure she's not able to get away, you gobble her up, you spit her back out, and you collect your money.
Beautifully played from G2, utilizing the Tahm Kench ultimate to get behind Betty, who was left alone in the bot side of the map. He chooses not to flash. He doesn't think he's going to get away, but here comes Maple.
Maple trying to clean something up on this one. He knows that it's time to bench that Kench, but it looks like Tom's not taking a seat anytime soon. Yanko's in some trouble, but Wadid is right there with the save yet again, sacrificing his life, or maybe not, the stasis to keep him alive. This man is crazy today.
And you can see the threat of the Brand. Hjarnan has actually died for it.
Muujin really wants to clean somebody up here, but instead, it's going to be the damage coming out from Hjarnan that nearly takes him out. Wadid's going to be cleaned up by Maple, making a double over to the mid laner from Flash Wolves, who manages to make that fight still work out. Perks wants to get away onto the claw, does take it at the last second, only to get the axe from Hana.
And across the map, Flash Wolves come alive. They're able to win both areas of the trade. They're looking for the turret, and Wanderer's just left pushing top.
Beautiful stuff from the Flash Wolves as Muujin goes in. And what looks like him just killing himself ends up being a massive win for Maple. 3-0-0 now on that Akali. Flash Wolves, they take the kill lead.
Flash Wolves happy with that across the map. They lose a lot of HP on the tier 1 turret, but they're still going to be keeping that one alive, which is what's important. Taking the health off doesn't actually give you any advantages itself. You've got to take it down to 0 to grab the gold, and that means Flash Wolves are just coming up across the board. However, gold's still even between the teams as we take another look at how it happened.
And this was a great play out of G2, but they stuck around. They wanted to press to the turret, and they didn't have great control of the map state because Wonder had just back, didn't have the teleport available, so they picked their moment. The repel was great on the initial dive, but there are just so many tools to continue right now for the Flash Wolves lineup.
Ooh, yeah, but we have to come back because Maple is in some trouble.
Making a dive onto Akali is not the easiest champion to accomplish that on, though. The Shroud keeps Maple safe. It's cute that you threw down the control ward, but this is obscurity, gentlemen. Doesn't work that way.
Nope,
nothing's gonna see it.
Nope. Perks now in a situation where he has to hold the mid lane tower, but Flash was trying to respond on the other side of the map. This will be first tower blood going in favor of G2, but Flash should be able to swap on the other side.
Hjarnan hangs out and grabs himself solo credit on that turret, just making sure they get all the gold in the best possible spot. As we'll see Betty rotated over towards the mid lane, cleaning that one up as the rest of the Flash Wolves will move over towards Shelly's home and ever so rudely evict her.
Wonder might be in some trouble here.
Gonna be going in, has the Righteous Glory to try to lock him down. Sword Art's not going to find himself the death sentence. Nice three-man stun, but it's not nice enough to get him out. Mugen grabs the kill credit.
And that was a big mistake from Wonder. He definitely overstayed his welcome on the top side of the map. He should have been aware that all G2 members were pushing on the bottom side, and he didn't have that vision control. So he gives away another kill over to the Flash Wolves, and he even loses his flash as a result.
And unlike the previous early game where G2 didn't have much control, this time around they have had control bottom lane, but they got double air dragon as opposed to the double fire. So a little bit unlucky at this stage. Meanwhile, Jankos potentially sticking his nose in bottom lane.
Jankos just interrupting a back here for Maple, who doesn't have a turret to get himself away on. Perkz has the damage. There's the electrocute. There's the proto belt. Hide in that smoke as they take him down.
That is a lot of CC.
That is how you chain CC against Akali. That is what G2 will need to do in these later game fights if they want to stand a chance. Ooh, does he get the interrupt? No, he does not.
Today.
And that is Flash Wolves trading a tower. So both these teams constantly looking for advantages all across the map. The towers are still relatively even. You can see Hjarnan is, in fact, on the top side, but they don't have enough information on where the Flash Wolves are, so he's too afraid to overextend.
Bottom side, Flash Wolves just clearing out the camp, says it's going to be G2. Bodies in the top lane. Wonder on your screen moving towards this top side. Hjarnan's already pushing out this minion wave that I commented earlier, remember? Yeah, the turret doesn't do anything, only taking it low. Well, what it does do is make it so Hjarnan can walk up, throw 3 auto attacks. All right, only 2.
And whilst Hjarnan is 0-0-0 and equal in CS, he has been able to take down both the first turret as well as that top lane turret. He's not all that far ahead. That is a cashed-in cull already for Betty. But these champions' jobs, whilst AP and AD are going to be quite similar in the team fight. Try and get as much AoE damage out before everyone else dives on top of you.
That's certainly true, but Betty, he's going to take a lot more time to be relevant in these fights compared to Hjarnan. The thing about AP is you don't really need a lot for Brand to really be relevant, especially with how his passive works. But now, Perkz, isolated in the top lane. 4 members of Flash Wolves are applying pressure, and the rest of G2 trying to push in mid.
Perkz will do what he can to hold this tier 1 turret. Lissandra's one of those champions that can also be very tricky to perform a successful dive on, so even though multiple members of Flash Wolves are hanging around, they're not going to pull that trigger just yet. G2 still hanging around the mid lane. Remember, Tahm Kench can roam to help out with any sort of a dive using that Abyssal Voyage.
Yeah, and they got good vision of creating a path to where Tahm Kench needed to get to, so they knew it wasn't going to be interrupted by an Akali. Now you see Wonder generate enough pressure bottom lane that instead of defending this turret, they can just take themselves something like a dragon, try and get priority over that mid lane tier 1. We've seen in the past that G2 are willing to trade out objectives. This is another game where they're going to have to do that well.
Cloud Drake number 2, you already mentioned it, Spawn. It's going to be more move speed going to the side of the European team. As top lane, Perkz just keeps on clearing out the wave. Protobelt's great to add some extra bursty rotation. It's also great to get rid of a creep wave when you just need that extra little bit of umph as Jankos heads towards the mid lane. Scare Maple away, but no pull to be had.
Also note that Maple, he had 3 kills in this early game. Ooh, might be a fight.
Flash Wolves walking up here, trying to threaten onto G2. Mugen throwing out a little bit of damage there with the threaded volleys. Jankos, having already used the Predator, doesn't have that extra speed boost, but still has Flash and the pull and the chilling smite ready to go. G2 still hanging around here. Want to try to find a little bit of damage down on the Flash Wolves members. Sword Art doing a good job weaving back and forth. Maple bottom side, one to collapse onto Wonder. Righteous Glory going through, another nice stun. Wonder looking to get himself away from this one, doing a good job dodging the skill shot. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Dashes away over to the Krugs. Maple still chasing after him, and he flashes to find the kill.
And this is another overextension from Wonder. He didn't have his flash available. The rest of G2 can't punish anywhere else on the map, and it just results in another kill going over to this mid lane assassin, Akali.
Shutting down Wonder's ability to split push, his ability to get ahead, can be pretty important for Flash Wolves this game. When you look at Wonder and look at the kind of stats he puts up, the man averages 23.7% of his team's gold, the highest of all top laners in the group stage, and he does 29% of his team's damage, also #1 in that one, compared to the average of 21. But when you shut him down like this, you can stop that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. None of it really all that relative if you're just going to die in a side lane over and over. And a couple of times now, Wonder has been too far pushed up. Look at where the rest of the map is. No wave in the mid lane. They can't pressure anything there. Perkz at the tier 1 top, so there is no response play. Wonder does a good job of trying to buy some time, but ultimately is unsuccessful.
Hanabi finding some good damage onto Perkz there. Of course, Hanabi on this Scion is 50 CS. behind Wonder. Wonder has been controlling that matchup rather well. We talked about how both solo lane matchups for G2 were very favorable, but he's still Scion, man. He's still a big old meatball. You still got to get through.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Conqueror and things are going to help, but Wonder does need some time to scale up. Needs that second, third item to be relevant in this game. So the more they can attack that side lane, try and buy time. That is the aim of the game right now for the Flash Wolves. You have a very good front-to-back comp with so much threat. Get to the Baron stage of the game, force around objectives, allow Sword Art to make some plays.
Speaking of time, we're 1 minute away from that 20-minute mark where Baron will spawn, and if we're checking in on where everybody's at, you can see QSSs purchased for both the big carries on Flash Wolves, paying the Skarner tax. Yanko's trying to come in from behind, gets himself the pull. They're able to find the damage, the collapse on Emujin. He didn't pay the tax, and that means he's the one who goes down.
He has to pay with his life instead, and it results in another quick kill. It did cost Jankos his flash, but G2, they get themselves another tower, the final outer tower, and extend their gold lead to about 1,000.
And you can see the idea about how this team fight eventuates, the ability to push outside lanes, collapse into the middle, start a fight at a whim. There are so many tools they have. Aurelia ult, as well as everything loaded into Perks' kit. Jankos' ultimate. Then you throw in a brand just for a lot of damage. And I think that if they can continue to get the map in their position, they can continue to make these fights.
Yeah, teleport thought about there for a second, but that one's immediately going to be canceled. Flash will get themselves back quickly enough to escape the collapse. And Sword Art says, oh, you got a ward there. Okay, we'll go ahead and clear that one out. Another ward right behind them, though, as Sword Art and Betty continue pushing up. Wonder's also hanging off here in the flank. Is spotted by the ward from Flash Wolves as Maple's going to move himself up, take control of the Skarner Spire. Without Jankos having an ultimate available, G2 don't really want to take an even fight right now, and Hanabi will just continue farming up here on the top side.
So remember, we talked a lot about how this Akali in the late game is going to be very difficult for Wonder to deal with, and I'd like to see Perks go down and match him, but the problem is he just used his teleport. So he's forced to play towards the top side of the map where the Baron is alive. This means that Wonder has to go and deal with him because he's the only one outside of perhaps Yarnan that can ideally survive, but also can join a fight should it start off.
And not only that, Sion is one of the best champions of the game of being able to ult down a lane, generate a pick, and then as he has teleport as well, they can 2v1 Wonder and then still be reactive to the objective on the other side of the map. So a big window right now for the Flash Wolves to continue to remain in control.
And that's the question I want to pose now. Flash Wolves are more in control of this game than they have been in the past couple times we've seen them. They've been pretty far behind in those past couple of losses, but now that they're only 1,000 gold down compared to G2, almost 2,000 now, that's actually starting to build up more and more. What do they need to do to maintain that control, at least enough to pose a fight on even ground?
Well, right now they need damage on their AD carry, who may be caught out from G2 as they look for a flank. Tom Ken Jolt.
Flash Wolves trying to get themselves rallied up into the same spot here, ready to fight. Perk's going to be taken down to half HP, goes into the ultimate. Sword Art going to be soaking a lot of damage, now gets bursted down. Yarnan's grabbing the kill onto him. Multiple members now going to be caught up in the Aurelia ulti as Wadid's trying to get himself away. Perks goes into the stasis. Hanabi in the front line. It's going to be a shutdown. Wonder grabbing the kill onto that enemy Akali. Mujin gets the kill onto Perks as Hanabi's going to be chasing after. Righteous Glory will look to find the kill. Yarnan wants to escape. He gets the stun into some damage, but Mujin's got the backup firepower, and the decimating smash will axe him a quest.
And no one can deal with the Sion in the top lane. He is too tanky at this stage of the game. Yanko's still alive, but Flash Wolves set their sights on the Baron.
As soon as I say, what do they do to stay in a good spot? Here's what we do to stay in a good spot. They respond, Jankos alive, Smite available. He's the one who has to slow them down enough at least to buy time for his team, but Flash Wolves, they're teleporting in their remaining member. They're making sure everybody's here. Jankos has Blast Cone. You steal it, you're a hero. He goes into the stasis to buy some time. They want to stop him. Jankos gets the Baron! And G2 move in, mop and bucket at the ready to clean up the Flash Wolves. Wonder's gonna be taken down though, and Flash Wolves could yet maybe turn the fight. Wadid's down to one hit, but after having lost the Baron, Flash Wolves have to make sure they don't lose the subsequent fight. Perks wants to get himself away, takes the claw to make the escape. Maple still chasing after. Mujin looking to find the damage onto Wadid. One more hit to take him out, and he cleans up that kill as Yarnan's still trying to get himself away. There comes your vision plant to make sure they're able to find him in the brush. A double kill over to Mugen. This would have been fantastic for Flash Wolves, but Jankos may have saved the game with that Baron steal.
What the hell just happened? Flash Wolves win a fight, G2 get the Baron, G2 lose 3 members, and it all starts off this initial play. Note how G2 go onto Sorda. They're not even diving onto Mugen or Betty. Maple is still safe in the back line, and after everything has been wasted on the support, that is when Flash Wolves go for the re-engage.
Yeah, and all of it starts with Maple diving the back line. Betty untouched. The amount of AoE coming out of this lineup in these clumped up areas is huge. They then go a little bit too aggressive. We're still early in this game, 22 minutes. They start up the Baron, a great stasis, a great steal, and as you mentioned, maybe Jankos once again saving this game.
26 HP, and he gets the smite. He could have taken that with a Skarner Q.
And the mistake here from G2 is that they tried to go for a fight in the Baron pit when they just didn't need to. They had the Baron, they should have disengaged, but they got greedy. They didn't have the front line anymore. Wonder died very early, and now only a single member has the Baron buff. You can see the Baron power play is still negative for G2, and all it really did was buy them more time.
Well, it's much better than having your opponents get that fight and get themselves the Baron. That would have been the nightmare situation for the team from Europe, looking to punch their ticket out of this group with a win in this game. Flash Wolves much more concerned about staying competitive now after starting off a fantastic 2-0 start. Now 2-2. Love to find a win here with this second game of the day. Only 3 to play for each squad.
Ooh.
Flash Wolves fire off the Weaver's Wall. That's going to stop 3 people from getting over it, but there's no collapse.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. They use the teleport on Hanabi. They actually complete it from the bottom lane. They had TP advantage briefly on the map, and yet they still just collapsing for that fight. Right now, Hanabi needs to be with the team if they ever 5v5.
I also want to point out Medjai's Soul Stealer has been purchased for Mugen along with the QSS. He's saying, I'm not going to die anymore, and I'm going to prove it to you with this book.
But it's not just a single QSS, Flowers. That's 4 QSSs that are on the side of Flash Wolves. There's so much single target CC on the side of G2 that is going to be very difficult for them to be able to win out on these late game fights. And you know, you mentioned it in the last fight, Spawn. This front line, this tank, this Scion. Who's going to kill him? They don't have the AD carry. They don't have that late game damage threat, and he can just stack up magic resistance.
Yeah, exactly right. And if they do continue to 5v5, that means it's only Wonder as the physical damage threat. The reason they went with such an AP heavy bottom side of the map was so if Wonder gets isolated in the split push, he's going to have the advantage against the Scion. But too many times has Hanabi been able to join the rest of his team and gain advantages.
What I'm looking at now for G2 is Perks to be a more important primary initiator. Because with all these QSSs, Jankos needs it to be procced first before he can make a valuable pull. Wonder's going to be taken low. Betty as well. Wonder falls first. Betty's still going to be kept alive. Jankos grabbing himself a pull onto Sword Art, but now Sword Art's having to get himself out. Perks tries to make some kind of a move onto Mugen. Instead, going to be forced back. Maple wants to go in here on the Akali as Hanabi's going to be soaking the damage from 3. The man doesn't die! What did gobbles him up, spits him back down. He might finally fall here, but Maple's still able to find even more damage down now onto Perks. Jarna throwing out the flames, but they won't be enough. Flash Wolves has completely taken over the fight. Jarna's trying to find himself a little bit more damage. Sword Art's able to grab the pull. He'll die for his sins there from the passive, but only Jankos remains. One lonely Scorpion behind enemy lines, and it looks like the Medjais might get a couple more pages.
And G2 unable to utilize the Baron at all. They end up falling once again. Flash Wolves still have 2 members left alive, and they're going Scorpion hunting.
Somebody play that sad Sarah McLachlan song on the ASPCA commercials, because this Skarner is having a bad time. Maple still going even further forward, grabs himself the slow. We didn't need the sad song after all.
He will live. He's the last time.
You speedy critter.
It's going to be able to get out of there. They still lose the team fight as a 4-kill turn. And all of this starts with Wonder looking for a mark. Once again, caught out in the side lane. So much damage, but Betty able to live. And then as soon as the Scion makes his way to this play, he is just tanking everyone. He's going nowhere. He's a brick wall. They're just pummeling him, putting every ability into him. and he's still not dying all that fast.
And we're seeing that without Wonder, just so much of the damage disappears for G2 because Jarnan's cooldowns are long. There is so much mobility on the side of Flash Wolves, they can dodge a lot of his skill shots. And Maple is also so patient with how he uses this Akali.
And that is 3 key hooks in a row that Sword Art is able to land. The difference on the playmaker for this guy versus something defensive like a Tahm Kench, Braum, or a Shen, he's having a much improved performance.
And the impressive thing about all of this is that the goal is still even. Flash Wolves have 8 more kills than G2, and yet they still cannot find themselves a gold lead.
And when you see the damage dealt to champions in the last team fight, you can say, wow, 2 members, 1 on each side, Muujin and Yarnan, both did so much damage. How did the fight go so far the way of Flash Wolves? All the damage from Yarnan was into this Scion. He's trying to pulverize this guy who's got an adaptive helm, who's just sitting there going, oh, okay, no worries about this. This front line is going to be a problem in every subsequent fight, especially if Wonder gets caught out like that.
And it hasn't been the HP Shred build picked up for Hyun, and it hasn't been something like a Rylai's into the Burning Faces. Now maybe Maple caught out.
Maple goes into the Shroud, though. The Obscurity going to keep him in a decent enough spot. Gets over the wall. Very well done from him. As Hanabi now tries to escape from the counterattack coming out from G2 there in the mid lane. Maple popping the QSS, giving himself in a decent spot, uses the stasis to continue doing so. Wadid tries to devour his teammate to safety. Wonder grabbing the kill now down onto Maple. G2 still buying as much time as possible. Betty looking to grab the damage down onto Yarnan, can't quite do it. Yarnan grabbing the kill onto Sword Art as Maple kites back. Wonder's grabbing the kill. That's Muujin down as Betty will now run, but he's running the wrong way. Jankos and Wonder and Perks, everybody's coming to Betty Town. They may be uninvited guests, but they're gonna find their man, and Wonder's going on a killing spree.
And that was a huge team fight win for G2. They, this time, don't bother killing the Scion. He's forced to run away from Wadid. TPs are coming in, Baron's alive. G2, can they even get anything off the back of this play?
That is one fast frog. Wadid just staying ghosted, gives him a couple licks. How many licks to the center of a Scion pop? You'll never find out because he has 4,000 HP. Instead, you're going to go over to the Baron pit and do what you need to do if you're G2.
Now, they were pretty slow to this Baron, but they do it incredibly quickly. Another one of Brand's skills is being able to chunk out objectives. 2 members heading there, but it looks like G2 have it in time.
So much damage from Brand and Irelia and Lissandra. That's Baron picked up for G2, and it's not a steal. It's not with one man standing. Everybody's ready to go.
And this starts off by finding a pick onto Maple, and this is crucial because of how well he has been playing these fights. But note how he has to use his ultimate right from the get-go. Now, a lot of his damage is unavailable. Now, Flash Wolves try to get this collapse in, but the teleport from Lissandra comes through, and again, G2 just turn onto Maple. He's still split from the team. The Tahm Kench ultimate comes up, and keep your eyes on Sean, and look at how well he plays this fight. The Zhonya's into the flash stun, into then just barely staying alive and assisting with the kill onto Sorda. This man plays the Brand beautifully while the rest of G2 clean up the fight.
And meanwhile, Perks and Wonder go to town. It was actually Perks flanking through the jungle, cutting off any form of retreat. It meant that Hanabi had to be too aware of where the Aurelia was coming, the Lissandra was coming from, and Aurelia just had a field day on the back line.
We talked about how in the fight where Wonder died early, you didn't see the damage for G2 stick. When he doesn't die early, he tops the charts. And for this G2 roster that is now 4,000 gold up, you're in the best spot you've been all game to take this to the Nexus.
But once again, he's so far up in the lane, and both solo laners coming across. Muujin also here.
Hanabi wanting to catch up with that Righteous Glory. Maple goes forward, drops the active from the Gunblade, but it won't be enough to catch up. Jankos was there on the flank to buy some time.
Still very dangerous for Wonder. This guy is sitting with the gold lead for G2 as Jankos now caught out.
Jankos, that's one of your big initiation tools, might be in some trouble here.
But that's 2 big ultis now used for Flash Wolves, and they don't find a pick. G2 feeling very happy about the state of play right now as Perk sits in the bottom lane. Level 17, Wonder level 18 in the top lane. They move back into the 1-3-1. They do not want to fight Flash Wolves as they use this Baron to pressure into the base.
Jankos also with a Warmogs in inventory means that any of that damage that they do to him unless he dies will not stick. Perks takes down the tier 2 in the bottom side, brings them up to a 5k lead, and keeps that pressure on.
And remember, G2 are playing for that quarterfinal spot. The first time in this organization's history, as now they collapse onto Perks.
That was a very short-lived Scion ulti. Not quite finding the mark he was looking for, and that means more defensive posturing for the Flash Wolves.
And that decisive team fight into Baron meant that they could finally set up the map. They had a couple of flubs. First one that goes early, then Yanko a solo mission to clear out wards, but because neither of them died, they now have the map exactly where they want. They have all 3 waves pushing up, and they continue to build their lead.
And they're so fast with 3 Cloud Drakes backing them up too to move back and forth through these lanes. As that powered up cannon minion is going to continue sieging the mid lane tier 2 turret. The last structure standing outside of the base itself of the Flash Wolves. G2 still have 25 seconds left on Baron. It's already given them over 4,000 gold. Doesn't look like they'll get too much else with it.
You can't count the Flash Wolves entirely out of this game, though, because the Baron is about to disappear. G2 will only break through the tier 2s. Ideally, they want to find a pick because Flash Wolves have demonstrated in the 5v5, their composition is just that much easier to execute. They have a front line that they can stand behind. They have a huge amount of stall with their mobility and the Akali as well. Now they're looking for a pick on a Perks.
Seeing if maybe this is the pick that could buy them the time they need. Claw over the wall. Perk's going to be kept alive for now. Death Sentence lives up to the name, or does it? Perks staying alive with the ulti. Good use of the blast cone there to make sure he couldn't use it to get away. And Perks is picked off.
And once again, just flawless play out of the support of Flash Wolves. Able to pull him away from the wall, lock him down means no flash over the wall to safety. Windows like that are where G2 must be, Flash Wolves must be able to execute, because members of G2 starting to pick up those Void Stuffs. Now going towards Leandre's Torment. One more time, Wonder in the bottom lane. Very far up, but will not, once again, be punished.
Tense now for G2. They do have a monster of a gold lead, but again, it sits on top of Wonder. He is still capable of dying to Maple. You can just see 5,000 above his lane opponent. He has a 160 CS lead over Hanabi. But if he is not there, then all of the damage, all of that gold difference disappears for G2.
But if a team fight happens right now, there is so much gold just on Maple. He has spent none of it. 2,500. In fact, as we take a look at the item difference between he and Perks, needs to get back for a shot, because there is so much force potential. You know, Tahm Kench ultimate into Iskana ult, teleport coming out of Perks, of one of the 2 wards so deep into the near base of Flash Wolves right now.
Flash Wolves positioning up here in the mid lane, 4 men strong. Last remaining member there in the bottom side in Maple. Baron live in under 2 minutes. Same can be said of Elder Drake. G2, the ones who will enjoy the biggest bonus from that. Flash Wolves with only a single Mountain Drake under the belts will have a significantly smaller gain from that burn, but it's still going to be something measurable. Remember, both teams still have the ability to win out in these fights, even if it is edge for G2. Wonder continues just moving through enemy territory, dropping those blades in the brushes as he goes in case anyone's waiting.
And the Flash Wolves started off this Worlds tournament with a 2-1 record, only losing to G2. They looked extremely strong. Everyone was rating them so highly. Betty was having fantastic performances, but coming into the second round robin, they have struggled. They are fighting tooth and nail right now against G2 to keep their hopes of making the quarterfinals alive. They already lost 1 today against the Afrika Freaks. Another loss here would make getting out of this group so much harder.
However, they do have a composition that can turn on a dive, that can force. You can see they're looking for it now. They force G2 away from the turret. Teleport coming in behind.
G2 saying, we're not trapped back here. You're trapped in between us. Never mind. We're not going to go through with that plan. Instead, it's Wonder on the front line as Hanabi pops the righteous glory. Fight's going to be breaking out. Perks goes into the back line. Taken low, but gets the ult off before he's going to be taken down. Betty's staying alive in the back line now as well. Hanabi tanking up everyone as per usual. Maple trying to take down those damage dealers on the side of G2, but Hanabi's going to be the first one to fall. Perks may be next. It's going to be the interrupt on Maple's ulti. He's still grabbing the kill for himself. Hanabi's raging Scion passive tries to chase down and grab another kill, but he will not find it. Wonder goes into resurrection mode as the Flash Wolves camp the body and prepare to take him down a second time.
And one more time they get Hanabi, but it just takes so long that 2 members of G2 die. It is going to be the solo lanes. Once again, we might see the Baron for Elder Drake trade.
The trade is much different this time, though, because this time the team that has all of those elemental drakes will be grabbing the Elder Drake for themselves. Flash Wolves grab the Baron. They ping to rotate down to the Elder Drake, but I don't know if they'll make it in time. Elder at about 3,000 HP. Flash Wolves moving in. Elder at 1K, taken out. But does G2 get away on this one? Sword Art wants to go for a hook. Wisely sidestep at the side of G2. Maple wants to come around from the side, but G2's already winning the fight. It's a TP coming in. Flash Wolf still looking to make something happen. Woodid goes over the wall. Blast cone for the chase. Woodid's going to be taken low. There comes your Weaver's Wall over the edge. Yarnan's also nearly going to be bursted down. Seismic shove to take down that Kinch. And now, Jankos is in the back, but he stands alone, flashing over the wall to try to stay alive as the turret falls too. Jankos tries to scritter his way away from this one, making a pull happen. It's Wonder back into the mix. They pull Maple to safety, and Flash Wolves look to disengage. Perk's still gonna be there on the chase as G2 is going all the way for this one. Hanabi's gonna try to buy some time, distract everyone else. Sword Art, low HP, vulnerable, slow, and Wonder says, "You are mine." Still continuing after that chase, tries to get the damage with the Blade Surge, goes a little bit too far. There is your Gunblade trying to turn this fight around. Wonder's able to find 1 kill. Can he make it a 1v2? He does so much damage, he can't quite find it, and Maple walks away.
What the hell? What the hell is this game? There have been over 40 kills between the 2 teams. Flash Wolves get the Baron. G2 get the Elder. Minions are pushing into the base. No one's winning. No one's losing. This is World's Groups, boys.
League of Legends, ladies and gentlemen. Flash Wolves and G2, blow for blow. This one is going the distance.
And to just take stock, one of the most underrepresented things in League of Legends is a good Air Drake.
Yeah,
and I just want to point out how crucial the Air Drake was in this.
That will happen a little bit later, though, because note how this starts off with Betty so close to losing his life. Sword Art clutch saving him there, but then the TP from Hanabi is where things start to look dire.
Yeah, it certainly is. This looks like a great Weaver's Wall, but they're just taking so long to fall down, and you can see that members of G2 are starting to become more available. Perks grab to kill Wonder, then just joins the map, and you cue the Benny Hill music for about 30 seconds as they run in circles. But once again, gold starting to become irrelevant. Carries where they want to be. Big tanky front line for the Flash Wolves. All down to execution one more time.
Predator pop by Jankos there. Gold difference over time continuing to stay well in the favor of G2. But gentlemen, we're 41 minutes in. We're getting to the point in the game where gold is starting to mean less and less because you're approaching full build points. Wonder's dashing forward, trying to make something happen. Betty knows he has the lantern, so immediately returns some fire. Only a single auto attack won't do a whole lot. Wonder is full build himself, worth pointing that out.
But what we're also seeing is something that we talked about earlier. The ease of execution in terms of these team fights is in favor of the Flash Wolves. You see that if G2 don't get the perfect setup, they're the ones that get shut down on Flash Wolves now with the Baron of CJ.
Betty decides to let out that ultimate. They're looking to push down the tier 3. Good use of the Weaver's Wall to stop it. Flash Wolves may be looking to end the game if they win this fight. Wonder's going to be taken very low, does get himself away. Hanabi on the front line, absorbing the damage from everyone. Going to be stunned up, locked up, not taken down. Hold the safety by the power of the lantern. G2's not able to find themselves any kills in retaliation. Jankos in the front line now popping the Guardian Stoneplate, keeping himself all right. Flash Wolves get their mark, and they get the hell out.
And you can just see how damn tanky Hanabi is right now. They're throwing everything into him, and he's creating so much space between the front and the back line that things like the Brand Ultimate aren't bouncing, and G2 cannot find their mark.
A lot of props to the wall from Mujin as well, locking Wonder in that choke point, preventing him from getting onto the back line. He was ulted by the Scion into the hook from Sword Art, meaning that he was locked down for a sufficient amount of time that Hanabi could just do what he does best and keep G2 busy. Now, there is the inhibitor down towards the bot lane. Flash Wolves have so much more control over the map and an engage from Hanabi.
Here comes Hanabi with the ulti. Not going to find anybody just yet. TP coming in from the side of G2. Hanabi pulled the safety.
canceled.
TP's canceled. That means Betty's able to pull the trigger. They're going on to Wonder. If you can find him, it's going to be disaster for the Europeans. As now Wadid tries to get everyone else away to safety. Perks on the side. Yanko's going to be there as well. Death Sentence not finding anyone. Hanabi's still going to be controlling every single person he can find. Perks goes into the ultimate trying to keep himself alive. He's going to go down to Betty. Flash Wolves are winning the fight. Flash Wolves are wiping G2. Flash Wolves are going to take this game.
And if it couldn't get any closer, they catch out the top laner of G2. They wipe the floor. It is a clean ace, and they will push into the base.
Right into the turret goes the Scion. G2 may have beat them the first time, but Flash Wolf says, you aren't getting out of this group so easy. They're gonna find themselves a win. They'll smash down the Nexus turrets. They'll bash down the Nexus. And 43 minutes into this bloodbath, they'll take the win.
And the words of Group of Death have been thrown around so much this world. And once again, we just see how close these opponents are. Flash Wolves withstand the pressure, team fight so well, and pick up a much-needed victory.
Oh,
What a game.
what a game. We had, if I can do my math right, 46 kills.
That's correct math.
In that game. I mean, we talked about how we were expecting team fights, but I was not expecting that Maple on the Akali 9-3-7. Perks not having the most impact on this Lissandra.